Well, I'm here with two turtles right now. This is Harriet, my personal little eastern box turtle, and this is a new guy. These are the same species. This is a male and a female. I don't exactly know his age. I think we have it somewhere. So right off the bat, if you've seen box turtles before, you might notice there are some different things going on with him, especially with the shape of his shell and maybe a little something on his face, which we'll get to. But overall, this is really exciting because I love box turtles especially, and we get to actually care for one now. But probably your first question is, where did he originate from? Well, back in the day, wherever he probably came from, that person probably took him from the wild, so I'm sure he is wild caught. Box turtles are really never bred, especially the eastern boxes, but the people that we got him from had him since he was like a teeny tiny thing, smaller than Harriet. So basically, if you would suggest to release him, it would just be more dangerous for him in the long run. Even though it might sound good to like get him back into that environment, he is completely adapted to indoors human care, and it's surprising just how much they adapt and change to that, to where they will not thrive in the wild pretty much at all. He'd probably survive for like a week. I don't know, maybe longer. So you can kind of think of this as an episode 2 to the other video we did with a really old bearded dragon we have, chilling back there, where I basically just introduced you to him, showed him some interesting things, his different issues and stuff along the way. So this is like the next one. This is an animal that was given to Emerald Scales. If you don't know, that's where we sell and rehome animals at emeraldscales.com. If you're watching this as I upload it, we're about to go to Repticon, so the site is completely empty, but if you're watching this in advance, you can check the site out, and there should be some cool animals. But we are posting stuff within about a week, right after Repticon, so you can wait for that if you're looking for a new animal. So somebody reached out to us with this guy, and so unfortunately this turtle himself is not an example of how you should raise a turtle, but luckily the owners are an example of what you should do if you cannot keep the turtle, because they did responsibly find a home for him, which was here for us to help him out. And they were aware of some of the husbandry issues as he was growing up, because most of their long-term health is determined by how they're cared for when they're very small, because two big things for them are diet and the actual husbandry of the enclosure, which really affect the shape and health of the animal. The first thing you probably see here is he's got this big divot. It looks like someone just like took a mallet to him and started hitting him. Luckily he didn't go through that, and he doesn't seem to be in any pain, but it can sometimes get so severe to where they are unable to survive or they're in a lot of pain. So luckily he is not there, but it's still not a great thing to see, of course. Unfortunately, metabolic bone disease, which is what it's called, when they're unable to absorb calcium or just not given the right amount of calcium, is when their bones, which I guess the shell is considered a bone, does not develop properly. So although if he continues to grow, which he's pretty large right now, so at his point, because he's probably just about done growing, it means it can't improve, but it also can't get worse at this point, although UVB and everything is important. And Harriet's finally checking him out. So Harriet is a very young box turtle, so I can't show her as an example either, because she's not at full grown, but I'll show some images to compare. Basically the shape that you'll go for with a box turtle, called a box turtle because they can pack themselves up like a box. So luckily it looks like his flaps on the base work no problem. Now he's so outgoing and used to people that I've never actually seen him go in his shell entirely, but those flaps can just kind of fold up if he does choose to do that. The other big issue with him, which is not as severe of an issue right now and it is fixable, is his beak on the end. So basically this is just an overgrown beak, which can happen in any animal with a beak. Most commonly you'll see it in birds and things if they're not given the right stuff to chew on or the incorrect diet or whatever. But the weird thing is, box turtles generally have a pretty mushy diet overall, so I'm kind of surprised that he would actually have that issue arise. For example, our general diet for them is a little bit of fruit, a lot of veggies, different pellets, and a lot of different insects and protein. And I'm very curious to see if he'll walk off the end of the table, because it's always different with every animal. Harriet's never been so interested in another animal. She just knows it's for people. So in a lot of different animals, you can usually just fix the beak if it's just a little bit overgrown by adding things like cuddle bones, which you'll see for usually advertised for birds, but they're also for turtles just fine. Like I get Franklin cuddle bone and some of the other turtles. And if it's really extreme, you can end up just filing it down yourself. But we'll get to that. We're gonna do that later in the week. And we'll try and film that and show you how it goes. Luckily it seems pretty simple, and basically that. And then one example of what a very long beak can cause is just trouble eating. Thankfully he had no issues eating right now, so it looks like he's essentially just adapted around it. But once that beak is gone, it's probably gonna feel so good and he's gonna be able to just eat so well, just like getting your braces off or something. So I'm sure he'll enjoy that. But we'll get to that when we get a chance to. So like I said, these are both eastern box turtles, but they look crazy different other than the size. But even Harriet here, they start out in a very different shape than they do as an adult. It can be pretty hard to ID the very tiny turtles if it's not something you're used to doing because they just look so similar, just like a flat, darkish colored turtle. But over time they will develop different colors and patterns. Harriet though is a female and this is a male, which means that they do just have some differences that will never be similar no matter how big Harriet gets, which includes the beautiful colors that you see on this guy. His eyes are bright red, which is almost always a sign that they're a male. He has very bright yellow colors. Males also just have more of an arc on the plastron so that they can more easily mount a female turtle, but by far the biggest change are those colors. So Harriet's going to be kind of a bland, earthy brown, probably her entire life, although she can develop more pattern. You can always already see some different spots kind of showing up there, which look pretty cool. Okay, well these two are enjoying their little spaghetti date together with a poor nightcrawler that had to be the victim. Harriet was the first one to take it. I was kind of surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised because she gives for everything. She didn't care how big it was. She just chomped straight in and ripped it apart. And then he followed suit. And you actually could see the trouble he was having with that beak on the front. Like he couldn't get his face low enough because it just kept getting hit on the table. But he did figure it out. Luckily, that won't be a problem next week. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Especially here when they're so close, you can just really see the differences. Other than the beak, the shape of the head is pretty much identical. The eyes are very similar other than color, kind of where the spots are and obviously where like the ears are located. But the color and pattern is just like complete opposites. So which do you prefer? Do you have a preference? Sometimes I like the dark minimalist theme, but in this case I do think the bright box turtles are a little cooler. I don't know if it's Harriet, I'm sorry. Something else I've noticed with box turtles, they're native to North Carolina, so I get the chance to find them a lot and relocate them and stuff when they're on roads. And they're always just so outgoing. Like sliders are usually crazy and like scared, but box turtles for some reason they're just much more chill. Basically any box turtle, if you pick one up on the road, of course just be careful because they can bite, but most of the time they'll just poke their head out and kind of like swim in the air and be like, hey, what's going on? With not a care in the world. And once they're set back down, they don't freak out. They don't have to sit there for 10 minutes waiting for you to go away. They just keep walking along on their way. And they do have crazy strong shells. Unfortunately, it's not strong enough for like a car or something. However, they do frequently survive the car crashes and need a lot of, or car running, they get hit by a car and then they need surgery. So I'm sure that's expensive. I don't know why I'm mentioning this. Something else fun with box turtles is why I love them is they are omnivorous. So they can just eat anything, insects, plants, vegetables or plants. They can eat pretty much anything, whether it's insects or fruit or vegetables, because we have some turtles here that are entirely herbivorous, but it's more fun to be able to give them variety. And it's a bit easier to make a balanced diet when there are so many options. And then you can just do stuff like pellets, which we frequently do, but they definitely seem to enjoy the different flavors and colors, which is something else really cool. Like I don't think it's up yet, but we filmed a video of the tortoises and turtles having a picnic outside. Actually, it's on Amino now if you want to see that. There's so much blood on the table. This is terrifying. Just hanging out so much. The worm is like a glove over her bottom jaw. It's also very cool to see how friendly they are with each other. They seem to be equally, if not more, chill with one another as they are with a new person. So, although this is their first time being together and we're supervising and everything, if for some reason they were housed in the same enclosure, which they won't be, I think they would probably get along just fine, as long as they don't steal each other's food. But we won't be doing that. Also on the back of this turtle, I'll turn him around, right where the lump is, there's also a lot of different coloration right around. We had to give him a bath yesterday because he didn't smell great. I think he pooped on the way home, so I don't know if it was that or if it was older stuff on him. But either way, that all came off his plastron and everything. But there's this weird kind of just brown, it looks like he was like in a mud puddle or something. So it doesn't come off when I scrape it. So I don't know if that's just a form of shell rot. I don't imagine it would be, because usually you see shell rot on the lower parts that are directly touching the substrate. And Harriet's freaking out. Can't get that. Oh, she got it. So like you'll see, that's not something that you see on Harriet. You can kind of see a texture in it, but there isn't usually that much color. So we'll see if that comes off over time or whatever else. Might even be able to use the toothbrush and see if that changes it. But luckily, he seems to be doing quite well regardless of some of his issues. These kind of problems can end up crushing the turtle's organs to where they could be in pain or debilitated. Yeah, is that a word, debilitated? So although turtles with much more severe metabolic bone disease, which is certainly possible, it does affect him more, but in his case, he doesn't even seem to notice, and he doesn't know anything different. So that's satisfying to see, even if that is the problem. So this isn't a turtle we can like sell for money or whatever, which we expected. And we take plenty of animals for free that just need a new home. So that was exciting to do. But definitely one of the dopiest looking, just silliest, funny animals that you, I don't know, you kind of have to chuckle at every time you see they exist. You mix that adorable box turtle attitude and personality with just how he looks. I'm bullying his looks, I'm sorry. It's still funny though.